Unless you've been living under a rock, you may have already heard that Joann's is filing for bankruptcy. And so, what does that mean for us as crafters, sewists, and how is it that we're going to navigate this? Well, I've got the sewist covered with a couple of different online retailers that you can find some amazing fabrics at, and we'll be talking about what this actually means for us. Before we get started on that, let me introduce myself. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. My name is Aranka Cole, and I am a sewing influencer who focuses on plus sizes as well as a pattern designer in this lovely world of sewing. So the first place that I'm going to talk about, I've actually talked about before, and it's going to be Amanda's Bundles. Amanda is actually a dear friend of mine, and I used to sew for her. She used to literally be my fabric dealer, like pushing me fabrics to try out and test. And she's actually one of the reasons why I know knit fabrics so well. Now, I will say that Amanda primarily deals with knit fabrics, so you can get some of the best athletic knit in the world. It's called Peach Performance from her. She's also the one who taught me about Oakley fabric, which is a sweater knit, and it is incredibly comfortable. You can also find some really great scubas as well as Ponte knits, double brush polyester, rayon blends there as well. Next up is going to be Boho Fabrics. This is owned by my friend Emily Pritz, and she is a fantastic fabricologist. One of my favorite things about Boho Fabrics is that it not only has, of course, knit fabrics, but she also has a beautiful selection of woven fabrics as well. So anything from different silks to satins and cottons and everything in between. I love it so much. Now, this next retailer that I'm going to talk about is actually over the pond. So they are not in the United States, but I love them so much. And it is the fabric Godmother. Now, listen, if someone were to reach out to me and be like, hey, girl, I want to pay you to sew my fabrics, I would hands down say yes to her. Why? Because she has such a fantastic selection. Of course, their stuff is sold via meter versus yard because, of course, imperial versus metric system. But her fabrics are so good and talk about high quality, and I love her selection. She, too, has a really great selection of both knit as well as woven fabrics to choose from. Everything from dead stock and end of bolt sales. She's got it all. Another really great over the seas retailer is MinervaFabrics.com, and Minerva also has a very wide breadth of selection. There's a bunch of Minerva makers that are friends of mine, and they always have really great colors. I'm in my, okay, so I know I'm not wearing any color today, but I'm in my like color era. If you could see the fabric that I just made I did my summer fabric my summer pattern out of this fabric. Your girl is in her color era, but they also have a fantastic selection at Minerva. So I will say that if you're not afraid of paying some, I don't even want to say that their shipping fees are hefty, but I will say that you will want to buy a little bit more in order to justify how much it costs in shipping. Those two by far are my favorite overseas, like a UK-based fabric retailers. Okay, so if you're into sustainable fabrics, we've got Nature's Fabrics. They are also a sponsor for Atlanta Frocktails for 2024, so shout out to y'all. But also they have a fantastic selection of fabrics, and I'm not going to lie, I didn't know about them before they became a sponsor. And here's the thing, sustainability is my jam. I love it for us, and it's something that I definitely want to consistently pursue. But they have a fantastic selection in both color as well as fabric type, and I love that. Like, their stuff is amazing, and I wish I'd found them sooner. Also staying with the sustainability route, but going to a custom fabric area is So Dynamic Fabrics. So Dynamic Fabrics does custom fabrics, and they actually recycle plastic water bottles to make their fabrics. For every yard, I think it's like maybe 6 water bottles or something like that, but they have it on their website, so definitely check them out. And again, that's So Dynamic Fabrics. Of course, I will have these listed out in the actual caption, so you don't have to worry about writing these out as I go through them. So let's continue on with US-based fabrics. If you're into doing customs, Spoonflower, of course, they're local. Spoonflower.com, you can print on a couple of different bases. By a couple, I mean like 20 different bases, so a little bit more than a couple. But they're fantastic. I also have printed my fabrics with them. If you're like, oh, I want to support you some more, I do have a line of fabrics that's up with them as well. Keeping along the lines of printing it yourself, you have Raspberry Creek Fabrics. They're also local to the US. They also feature pre-printed fabrics as well. So they've got the ones that you can design yourself, and then they also have ready-made fabrics, which are truly fantastic. I also have a couple of friends who sell their fabrics, and their makes have been phenomenal. So let's keep our party going. We've got fabricmart.com, and their fabrics, first of all, they have like the best sales in the world, right? But also their fabrics are really wide as far as the different types that they offer. I love that for us, okay? Also, we've got, and I've talked about them before as well, we've got Fabric Wholesale Direct. So if you're into solid colors and you want to create like this beautiful monochromatic like look, friends, they've got what you need. So we know that peach is like the Pantone color of the year. If you're like, hey, I just want to dress all in peach, then you can actually have all of the peach like flavors, colors obviously, come up in the different fabric types. And they have, of course, not just fabrics for apparel in both knit and woven, but they also have upholstery fabric there as well. And if you're not sure about it, I love how they do a video showing exactly the drape and how it falls, how it stretches, what it looks like in the light. So it can help you make some decisions. If you're also like, hey, how am I supposed to make decisions without touching fabric? Order fabric swatches, friends. Most websites will send them to you, okay? If you are an Ankara baddie and you are interested in buying some Ankara fabrics, I've got two recommendations from you, from which I personally shop from. The first one is going to be Ankara Malkia. They are the first ones that I really started to buy Ankara from. It's owned by my friend Ronnie Gordon. She has a Facebook group and she sells fabric on her website, which is fantastic. I love because you can get it in the 6-yard cuts and she always has something new. The second one is going to be Zesty Couture, who is owned by my girlfriend Grace, and she also has great fabrics in there, and she recently started to dabble in, of course, some stretch as well. I love stretch knit, and I love being able to use it. I want to say that her base is either a DTY as well as a bullet fabric, so that's something to consider when you're looking for those stretch fabrics. And then, of course, if you were like, what about the vintage babes? If you were into vintage fabrics, literally the only place that I can send you to is going to be Backroom Room, which is owned by my friend Stephanie. She's fantastic. I'm going to tag her YouTube because she's also on YouTube as well. And she scours like everywhere and she gets you vintage patterns as well as vintage fabrics that go along with those patterns. So let's see, what do we go over? A lot. So ultimately, if you're looking for someplace, one of the other places to check for fabrics is drumroll. Brrr, Etsy. I know that y'all were not expecting me to say Etsy, but here's the thing. I have bought a lot of both fabric as well as notions from Etsy. Like, and I've got one final thought before I let y'all go. But Etsy has really come through in a bind when I've been looking for specific things and I could not find it. Or if I could find it, it was too expensive. I will say that Etsy, just searching for specifically what you're looking for, or if you have like an Etsy seller that you've used before, definitely reach out to them. My final thought is that if you are into making bras and lingerie, one, you probably were not buying very much from Joann's anyway, but I definitely recommend brabuilders.com. They have a fantastic selection there, as well as surgefabrics.com. They have fantastic selection, not just of bra fabrics, but also of like athletic fabrics and your day-to-day fabrics as well. Surge Fabrics is another really great resource that I forgot. Oh, and I swear, this is going to be the final one. But wazoodlefabrics.com. If you make things like diapers or I've done like a lot of specialty things from there. When I was cloth diapering my son, I bought and made my like the diaper stuff from there. If you are looking for fabrics to make like reusable pads and stuff like that, hands down, Wazoodle Fabrics. And I also feel like, of course, this goes without say, moodfabrics.com is, I think the most well-known online retailer when it comes to fabrics because they have multiple locations as well. So with that, I feel like that covers all of the bases. I do want to encourage you to, of course, use these places wisely. There's a reason why I put Mood last, not because I don't love a Mood fabric, because I am an affiliate with them. So when you click that link, shop and shop hard because it's probably going to be my affiliate link. But more importantly, most of these businesses that I have named are women owned and small business, right? It's International Women's History Month, and I want to really encourage you all to step outside of the box of where you would normally shop. Why? Because when you spend at a big box brand, right? Not saying that it doesn't impact them and it doesn't matter, it does, right? But like when you make a purchase from me, that puts food on my table, right? Or when you support this channel, that puts food on my table, right? That allows my kids to run track. That allows my daughter to get new point shoes, right? We see that directly. Sometimes we don't realize the impact of our dollar because it's never celebrated. But whenever you support a small business, there is literally someone on the other end of that purchase celebrating that win. So be mindful about where it is that you spend. I would never want to be as arrogant to tell you where to spend your dollar because I would never do that. But I will say that when you spend with smaller businesses, you have a greater impact. So we'll leave it with that, right? I will get off of my soapbox. And if you're a smaller business and you're like, hey girl, I need some help navigating this space, I'm also offering 40% off of my coaching, my one-on-one coaching services this month for women-owned business owners. You can see about that discount code in the comment section. As a reminder, there is a whole world of fabrics that's out there that's literally 1 to 2 clicks away. But really one click because I'm going to put those links down there for you. And I'm here to help you navigate it like a pro. But of course, before you dive into all of that fabric, remember to hit that like button as well as subscribe so that you never miss out on any of my sewing shenanigans. Make sure that you're sharing this video with your sewing circle, and let's keep our community thriving, no matter where we shop for our fabrics. Can't wait to see where your next sewing project takes you, and more importantly, where you get that fabric from for that sewing project. So until next time, keep those needles moving, those stitches flowing, and I will see you all on the other side. Bye for now.